Peace to the guys and nurse. Rod tapping in once again on behalf of the Sacred Tree, Operation God Body, Royal Family Tide, all that good shit. What's happening? I know it's been a minute. You know, I'll be on the ground with this shit. So it's like, you know, I always tell y'all, man, you catch me in the whirlwind. But every now and then, I like to touch base with the family, temperature check, you know what I'm saying? Just salute everybody and, you know, just make sure everybody good. And give you a few downloads. So today's download that came to me was I wanted to talk about Ancestry Divination. What is Ancestry Divination, right? So let's start with that. Ancestry Divination is when you venerate your ancestors, meaning you understand that without them there is no you. You understand that you stand on their shoulders, based off of their hard work, their sacrifice, their strife, their traumas, their successes. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty much paying homage and understanding that they paved the road and they passing you the baton for you to pick it up and, you know, do what you got to do for the next generation and so on and so forth. So I want to put this diagram up because we're a visual people. Like, that's why everything is emojis now, because those are hieroglyphs. We've always talked like this, and as you can see, these things are reemerging. So, yeah, what they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So I really want to help really bring this point home to y'all. So when you look at this diagram, right, you see the one, you the one. You the one in the middle. You the maestro. You the one that's going to orchestrate the orchestra in this lifetime. You know what I'm saying? You have the baton, right? What you see in every circle outside of that represents your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, so on to 8 generations, I think, is on this chart. So you the new age. You the one that all of your ancestors, at least in this chart, eight generations deep, they rooting for you. They want to see you win. You represent them in this lifetime when they were struggling, when they was, some of them was in chains, some of them was prisoners of war, some of them was immigrants from one place migrating to another. It's a whole lot of stories that make up the person that is you. You know what I'm saying? And when we're talking ancestry divination, we're talking about the acknowledgement of that and the appreciation. Like a good example is Black History Month. You know what I'm saying? Because this goes beyond just your lineage. It starts with your lineage. You always should start, just as a side note, it's religions that practice altar work for their ancestors. So, and this goes from Asian to Indian, African cultures. You know, they put water on their altar, have a picture of their ancestor, maybe light a candle. On their birthday, they might give them food. You know what I'm saying? These are common practices that we've always done as a people, as indigenous tribes to the land, because we've always had an understanding that the elders represented wisdom. They represented an ancient memory that was important to our way of life and our ecosystem. You know what I'm saying? And nowadays, and more important, not more important, but just as equally as important as your immediate genome is epigenetics, meaning the environment that our ancestors grew up in and the things that they had to do for survival and to pass down to you. You know what I'm saying? Because through slavery and other things throughout history, they have this term called what is called post-traumatic slave syndrome, right? And the reason why we need to analyze this is because through epigenetics, they used to have breeding farms. They used to have ways of teaching, especially through slavery. They made sure to teach them their place, right? And in these breeding farms, they would see who's the strongest, who's the weakest, what are they, you know, attributes that made them a so-called good slave, you know, in quotations, right? And this goes into Jim Crow as well. But you got to understand that at the time, they was understanding this science. You know what I mean? Even though they were dehumanizing our people at the time, they understood what epigenetics represented and how you can pretty much enslave 3 generations by just setting the example for the first one. You see what I'm saying? So you have to understand that not only works through trauma, but it also works to your, what I call your superpowers, your abilities that has been passed down from your ancestors too. It's not always bad things that you're inheriting from your ancestors. See, when they make you think that your history started with slavery, that it's like they make you think that you've always been a losing type of race, like you come from nothing. You see what I'm saying? And that's so far from the truth. You know what I mean? Because our ancestry lineage, especially when you were certain blood types, goes back millennial. You know what I'm saying? It really goes back millions of years, because we've been here for a long time before they even started writing history down type shit. You see what I'm saying? And with this knowledge comes the understanding that you represent your ancestors today, meaning you're your great 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 grandfather, grandmother. You were their aspirations, you were their dreams, and they're actually bearing witness to you manifested, living them out. Because why? They're in your bloodstream. They gave you their DNA information. You know what I'm saying? And the further it goes back, the less information you get, as far as what they're saying, as far as science now. But the closer you get, as far as your parents and your grandparents, as far as it get closer to you, the more attributes you get. So you're always getting the best of the best, and in some cases, the worst of the worst. It depends on where it transfers. You see what I'm saying? And like I said, epigenetics is another way of, it's like nature and nurture. When depending on your environment, that's going to affect how you grew up and how you're going to raise your children as well. You know what I'm saying? So pretty much when we're talking ancestry divination, it's good to have an altar. You know what I'm saying? I feel like an altar is a good idea, as far as like making them a part of your spiritual journey. You know what I mean? They're rooting for you. You'll be surprised just out for acknowledgement how happy they would be. Light a candle, put some water next to a loved one's picture that may have passed away. They'll bless you. They could be your guardian angel, and they would just appreciate that. You see what I'm saying? And you have to understand that spirit never dies. When your people pass away, they go inside you. They become one with you. They assimilate with you. You know what I'm saying? That's why you deserve the gifts that come with that. And you have to be aware. So when you tap into them, they're going to work on your behalf. They're going to see the things you don't see. They're going to hear the things you don't hear. And it's all in co-creation and working with the Most High. You know what I mean? So even when we're talking elemental forces, ancestry, the angelic realms, these are all just aspects of the one, the Most High, right? That's what you represent. You're the one in the middle. Back to that chart. You know what I mean? So it's just to show you that you're not an island. Even when people, so-called ops, is trying to come against you, they think you by yourself. Your ancestors, that's your army. Like, that's your council. You know what I mean? Those are your governors. They're your council. You know what I mean? They're the ones that give you your intuition. You know what I mean? It's a lot of things that you'll be surprised come through genetic memory and just survival instincts passed down from your grandfather and mother. You know what I mean? And like, for example, have you ever had somebody pass away, like a grandparent, right? And then shortly after, or even a little bit before, a baby is born, and then it's like that baby reminds you of the grandparent or the relative that just passed away. Like, those type of things is what genetics is about. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a transference. It's your ancestors passing you the baton, right? And you become like the maestro orchestrating the orchestra.